Hey guys, good evening, good day, good morning, wherever you're at, however you're doing. May this bring you some enlightenment, some hope, some relief, and most of all, some wisdom to help cultivate your awesomeness into being. Now let's see. What we got here is always do your best. What does that mean? That's the fourth agreement of a Toltec wisdom book called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And just to do a recapture of the first three agreements. And first of all, let's start with the Toltec. What is the Toltec? That is the women and men of knowledge, as the Toltec are known. First agreement, just to catch you up on it, is to be impeccable with your word. And my point of view of it, from what the reading showed me, was to create only beauty, to create only love and heaven on earth. What does that mean? It means you use your words kindly, lovingly, with intent that comes from your heart. You use those words not only towards others, but also with yourself. You start with yourself. You don't self-sabotage by calling yourself stupid or the such, or claiming negative anything towards yourself. Raise yourself up and the rest will follow, and you'll genuinely, naturally start doing that for others around you. You'll hear someone call themselves negative names, or you hear yourself, God forbid, calling yourself a negative anything. You'll catch yourself with time and practice, and this agreement will help you to be impeccable with your word, using your word not for creating sin in the sense of anything that is against love that harms you or others, but instead you'll learn to cultivate and create only positiveness out of your very powerful mouth. The second agreement is to not take anything personal. Now this is a lifesaver on 1001 levels, and an AKA, otherwise known as getting rid of your personal importance. How do you stop taking things personal? You get yourself out of the picture. A friend of mine speaks about how she says, well, they're just projecting on you. You've heard that a lot in many ways, in many shapes, I'm sure. But ultimately, what it comes down to is to get your importance out of it. Be that point of bird's eye view of it. Oh, is it difficult to do? You betcha. But it is definitely an agreement worth practicing, hounding, and learning to live with. It will make your life so much better. So much hurt and angst and pain will be taken out of your life. A lot of stress. What stress? You take nothing personal. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. Because my assumptions become my beliefs. And my assumptions become my truth. And then I'm in a box and I can't get out of that box. I can't possibly open myself up to what is actually happening in that other person's world or in the circumstances as a whole from above, that bird's eye view again. If I'm assuming something, that becomes my truth. And that is exactly how you will fuck your shit up. Plain and simple. Because then there's you're boxed in, and other people's point of view that could ultimately co-create something of beauty is taken off the table, because you're stuck in your truth that came from your assumptions. So make no assumptions. That is the third agreement. The fourth agreement is always do your best. This is dear to me for multiple reasons, but most strikingly because very recently, in the last 3 weeks, I was able to overcome not being offended. I was able to overcome being impeccable with my word. I was able to actually put these don't making assumptions thing into play. And it was this fourth agreement that set me free. And that's why I'm choosing to read this here and now tonight to you, because it's perfectly timed. Did I set this up? No. I've had this book in my hands for like over a year and a half, tugging it along. I went to a ladies' meeting that had this as the foundational book, and yet even though it's a tiny little book, and I'm a pretty heavy reader, it wasn't time yet. And now as I'm reading this, I'm going, wow. Wow. This got me through before I knew it's what it would take to get me through. So, armed with this knowledge, we will proceed to the reading of the fourth agreement. The fourth agreement! Always do your best. Now, for those that use the book, always do your best. That's a good way to self-direct too, by the way. You don't take it personal, and if it becomes personal, by the way, on that whole don't take it offense. If it feels personal, then it's a perfect opportunity for you to look at the situation, your part in it, and self-correct. That's another thing, because assumptions can corrected. Understood, being aware of it can help you self-direct easily. That's why these 4 agreements are so important. Now we're going to start with, your best will depend on whether you are feeling wonderful and happy or upset or angry or jealous, etc., etc., etc. So what does it mean to always give your best? Well, if you're having a shit day that day, you've had this, and this occur, and the circumstances are stacked against you, and you're going to get through it, and you're going to be fine. But in that moment, or in those weeks, say, another thing that currently occurred to me, even though I did my best to accommodate to other people and letting them know that I was not going to be available, that I was purposefully taking a self-break, people didn't take that well. But I did my best to inform my situation, to give my love in the forefront, so therefore I can stand free of oppression or guilt or regret, because I made my word be clear. I needed a few weeks off. I come back, they're upset, they took it personal. All these things that this book taught me not to be, even before I finished the book. Your best will depend on whether you are feeling wonderful and happy or upset, angry, or jealous. Now, if in the last 3 weeks I had a happy go, woohoo, every day was like cake, I would not have required time away from, say, some of my friends that took offense to that, even though I explained I need this time. But at my best, that's the best I could do. I needed a break, because I'd done the best I could do, but I needed a break. So again, back to this. Frees me of any, I did my best. That's all you can do. So your best will depend on whether you are feeling wonderfully happy, upset, angry, or jealous. So allow that. Now let's see. As you build the habit of the 4 new agreements, your best will become better than it used to be. Without question. This is why this beautiful Toltec book is so important. It's so basic, but again, life is easy. We make it complicated, right? So that's why these 4 agreements, I highly recommend you get to reading. As you build the habit of the 4 new agreements, your best will become better than it used to be. Now skipping to page 80. On the other hand, if you take action just for the sake of doing it. Now this is once you've had these 4 agreements and you're taking action for the sake of doing it, not the way to go about it. This is just to catch you up to where we are in this section. On the other hand, if you take action just for the sake of doing it, without expecting a reward, you will find that you enjoy every action you do. And we've all heard elements of that, whether in religion or in, grandma's wisdom or whatever. But what does that really mean? Here's a really good explanation of it. Rewards will come, but you are not attached to the reward. What I mean, just do something without expecting anything. Have you tried to do that? When has it worked? When you've enjoyed it. When you've been about it. When it wasn't actually felt like anything other than work, right? When you were enjoying it. You can even get more than you would have imagined for yourself without expecting a reward. But how, we say? If we like what we do. If we always do our best, then we are really enjoying life. We are having fun. We don't get bored. We don't have frustrations. When do you do your best? You don't give the judge the opportunity to find you. When you do your best, you don't give the judge the opportunity to find you guilty or to blame you. If you have done your best and the judge tries to judge you according to your book of laws, you got the answer. I did my best, bro. I did my best. There is no regrets. Did I come from my heart? Did you come from your heart? Were we impeccable with our word? Did we make assumptions? Did you do your best? Freedom, ladies and gentlemen, freedom. No matter the circumstances, freedom comes out of that. This is why we always do our best. It is not an easy agreement to keep, but this agreement is really going to set you free. When you do your best, you learn to accept yourself. And if you know thyself and accept thyself and love thyself, don't nobody fuck with you. Nobody can. Because you live inside yourself. You stand within yourself. And you're able to not take offense. You're able to work your way out. If offense is in the environment or coming at you. But you have to be aware and learn from your mistakes. How do we get to that place where we can accept ourselves? Because we learn from our mistakes. We learn from our experiences. But you have to be aware and learn from your mistakes. Learning from your mistakes means you practice. So if you find yourself in a little vicious circle where shit just keeps happening and happening and happening, and you're like, get out of victim mode. Recognize that there are lessons that you are not yet learned. So you will be going through that again. Perhaps try doing what Great Einstein hinted at. Make a different choice. Come from a different paradigm. Come from a different perspective. Know thyself. Know where you stand. Know what you experienced. Can't go wrong if it's your truth, right? And you can stand in it because it's yours. So take those traumatic events or those interesting events, those oppressive or even the magical and happy and go-lucky ones, and learn. We really actually learn from the hard ones, don't we? But by learning from those hard ones, we get out of the way of the next hard lesson because you've already learned it. You see it, you perceive it. Not perceive it, excuse me. You learn it, you see it, and you recognize it, and you're able to go, no. All these other avenues and places I could go, I'm going to go somewhere else and do something else. And freedom. So when you do your best, you learn to accept yourself. But you have to be aware and learn from your mistakes. Learning from your mistakes means you practice. Look honestly at the results. Look honestly at the results. And keep practicing. This increases your awareness. Oh, there's another big hit word of the new age and now and today and everywhere you look. Awareness! Are you aware? Where's your awareness? Well, this is why it's important. To increase your awareness, you have to deal with life as it's been directed at you. You have to pick up those patterns. If you want to get out of those vicious circles, you try new ways of thinking, feeling, perceiving. That's the wrong word. Acknowledging. Are you able to hold space and put your intent for what is best for all? Can you? This is how it works, guys. As far as I'm learning, this is how it works. It seems difficult. It can seem and be overwhelming, yes, but not if you're able to hold space for yourself and direct your thoughts to the best possible probability for all. What does that mean? That's something you have to put time in. Circumstance, those precepts and those characteristics become very clear and undeniable to recognize when they're either in the right spirit or not. Doing your best really doesn't feel like work because you enjoy whatever you're doing. Raise your hand for those blue-collar workers that have labored over, like for me it was sets. I used to do very elaborate sets for community theater and the such, no money, no staff, but man, I had a vision and I went with it. I was provided the space, and I worked endless hours because I enjoyed it. What is that for you? You have to find that. That's part of living a life that's fulfilling. You can't wait on it anymore. You have to know yourself enough to find that, or you will not have a happy life. Just saying. Those are the things you're going to do your best at, regardless of what anybody else fucking thinks. It's just the way it is. At least this my experience has shown me. You know you're doing your best when you are enjoying the action or doing it in the way that will not have negative repercussions for you. It's valuable. You do your best because you want to do it, not because you have to do it. Not because you're trying to please the judge, and not because you're trying to please other people. If you take action because you have to, then there is no way you're going to do your best. Then it is better not to do it. That's a mic drop right there. It's better not to do it. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, then you can't give your best about it. Then don't bother doing it. And talking about action. Oh, action. The last year has taught me so much about, last 2 years have taught me so much about action in a different arena than typically described in my former life. And this one, I ran into a bunch of people that were all about, I'm going to manifest this thing. But there was no action. And I think this book is showing me what I slowly picked up on. The action is required, but if you don't know yourself and are able to function in a place of enjoyment of what you're physically actively involved in and doing, you're not going to enjoy your life. And you can sit there and try to manifest whatever the heck you want to manifest, but if you're not able to know yourself enough to know what you enjoy and are actually doing it physically, those action steps, you're not going to get anywhere. Now, I know there will be, I invite the comments of people that will say otherwise. But then I want you to stop and ask yourself, if you did manifest some things that you thought, by just sitting there and not doing anything, but just literally sitting there, were you with like-minded people, and who brought you to those places and those things? Your knowing of them, or your own actual manifestation in your actions? Think about it. So something that I'm slowly working through and trying to understand that dynamic from some of my dearest of friends. They're all like, no, I'm just going to manifest it. It's just going to come. Well, let's really look at those action steps and where they come from. And I think it's here. A very good key is here. So, back to the thing. You can get more than you would have imagined in yourself. Okay, so once again, to repeat from a little bit earlier, if we like what we do, if we always do our best, then we're really enjoying life. And this action, this taking action thing comes into play this way. What is action? The integrity of coming from the heart, because then you enjoy what you're doing. You know about it. You have the confidence about it. You feel right about it, right? Right. Action is about living fully, according to Mr. Don Miguel Ruiz. Action is about living fully. Inaction is the way that we deny life. This is deep, guys. Inaction is the way we deny life. Inaction is sitting in front of the television every day for years because you are afraid to be alive and to take the risk. Take the risk, ladies and gentlemen, of expressing what you are, who you are. How can you risk that and get ahead in your life if you don't even know who you are? There's no time for dilly-dallying, guys. Don't you want your life to be happy? Expressing what you are is taking action. You can have many great ideas in your head, but what makes the difference is the action. Without action upon an idea, there will be no manifestation, no results, sure as fuck no reward. Because you can have many great ideas in your head, but what makes the difference is that action. Now, this is an example that I thought was adorable in this book. It's called the Forrest Gump example. I will undoubtedly use it from now on. The Forrest Gump example. Let's find what that is. A good example of this comes from the story about Forrest Gump, that movie. The gist of it, this gentleman who was slow, so-called slow in his mind, different than other people, and yet everything he did with gumption, and he did it full hilt. He enjoyed what he was doing, and he was doing it just to do it. The Forrest Gump example. A good example of this comes from the story about Forrest Gump. He didn't have great ideas, but he took action. He was happy because he always did his best at whatever he did. He was richly rewarded without expecting any reward at all. Taking action is being alive. It's taking the risk to go out and express your dream. You see that word risk in there again? And your dream. Take that risk, know thyself, and be able to confidently go out there with that. This is different than imposing your dream on someone else. Oh, this is different than imposing your dream on someone else, because everyone has the right to express his or her dream. Doing your best is a great habit to have. Oh yeah, if I want a habit, it's gonna be that. I'm endorsing this habit. Doing your best is a great habit to have. I do my best in everything I do and feel. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What she just say? I do my best in everything I do and in everything I feel. You know how much work that takes and how richly rewarding it is to obtain? Find out. You will not regret it. Doing my best has become a ritual in my life because I made the choice to make it a ritual. What are they talking about rituals for? Oh my God, is they talking about Catholic shit or no? No. Rituals come from way back. And the best example is the one I have written here is before enlightenment, cut wood and carry water. After enlightenment, cut wood and carry water. You know, that whole wax on, wax off. For those of you from the 80s, what's up? Hey, me too. Wax on, wax off. Enlightenment, chopping water. Chopping water, that's actually cooler. No, chopping wood, carrying water. That means that life goes on. The basics continue. You are in this 3D flesh. You have things to do, essentials to get done, to be comfortable, to be at ease, to be fed, to be nourished, to be happy. To be happy. The question is, how are you going to go about your day? Are you going to trudge it, struggle it, cause trauma and drama around you so that it's like, oh, such a drag and everything's like, oh my God? Or are you going to maybe look at these 4 agreements and go, maybe there's something here to thoroughly come into practice with in 2020. What would your end of your 2020 look like if you did? I know I'm revving to find out, and just the preview I had from this year tells me it's going to be freaking flow. It's going to be in flow, as it should be. Life is simple. We make it complicated. Now, back to this. The ritual. It's a belief that any other belief that I choose. It's a belief like any other belief that I choose. I make everything a ritual, and I always do my best. Taking a shower is a ritual for me. As an example, check this out. And with that action, I tell my body how much I love it. I feel and enjoy the water on my body. I do my best to fulfill the needs of my body. I do my best to give to my body and to receive what my body gives to me. Oh, there's a lot in that one example of a ritual. Come on, kitty. Walking your dog, another ritual. Washing your dishes. Nourishing and guiding a plant from seedling up. Keeping your car clean. It could be anything. I know what that is for you. Loved ones, I hope that is of value to you. Namaste. Thanks. Sorry for the interesting lighting. It's dark. What can I do? Alright guys, love you. See you later.